Hey, howdy, hey. Welcome back to today's episode about, we're Avilla Theory. Forgot to say that. I'm Nicole Avilla, and this is my husband, CJ Avilla.
Hi, friends.
And today we're going to mix it up a little bit. We want to talk about the piano. That's something that's new in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of want to mention about how we like to give gifts that are experiences sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this could be an interesting idea. And then also just wanted to give you an idea of if you have kids and you've been thinking about putting them in some sort of music lesson, what that looks like. Anything
cool.
else to add to that?
Well, I wanted to say that the intro was featured by...
Oh, right. That was me.
That was you. That sounded
I was playing
great.
Jingle
It was
Bells.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Very holiday friendly.
You too could play it. You had a couple months worth of lessons.
Yeah. So I wanted to set the stage here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you just played Jingle Bells, a holiday classic.
Yeah.
And how much experience do you have on the piano?
I took a few lessons.
You did?
When I was maybe 12 or 13.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always loved the piano, but I wasn't very good at practicing, so I stopped. And when I was in elementary school, I learned the recorder.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great music teacher. So I know the notes. So I know every good boy does fine or FACE. So that has been really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started taking piano lessons. When did we start this? Oh, over the summer. It was in June.
Okay.
We've had a lady come over to our house to teach me and the boys. And that's it.
So how did you find... so you're really new.
Very new.
You have been... That was as someone who doesn't play piano might be impressed that you were using both hands.
Yes,
you know?
Yeah. How it started is I've always wanted the boys to be able to play an instrument. I did a little bit of research, and it was suggested that you should start with the piano because the piano is a little bit easier to play for kids, and it introduces you to the grand staff, basically. So you'll learn about all the notes, what sharps are, what flats are. And so I was like, fantastic, when can we do this? And you can actually start a lot earlier than we did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
it just
what's the
depends
youngest
on,
age we're talking?
I don't know what the youngest is, but I would highly suggest just calling around to your local music teachers because I know that ours does teach toddlers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, she's willing to take on clients in midday when kids are in school. So that would be much younger children. But we started with our kids at the age of 5 and 6. And the 5-year-old, which I've heard from another cousin who also has a 5 and 6-year-old who are doing piano lessons, it's a lot harder for them to focus. They're into it for a good 5 or 10 minutes. And that's it. And lessons are generally 30 minutes. Our teacher, I think we're kind of lucky. She does it really differently. And first of all, she comes to our house, which I don't think is very common.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was the standard.
No.
Okay.
Usually you go to their studio or to their house where they have a piano. And then usually it's 30 minutes per person. Here in Northern Nevada, the rate is about $130 a month per 30-minute lesson.
For 4 lessons. Once a week. 4 weeks. 30 minutes lessons.
Yes, thank you.
30-minute lessons once a week.
Yeah,
for
so
4
for
weeks.
2 kids,
So
if you wanted them to go, 30 minutes every week, then that could potentially be $260.
Yeah, okay.
But the way that our gal does it is that not only does she come to our house, but she lets us share a 30-minute lesson, which is great because our 5-year-old, after 5 or 10 minutes, is done.
Yeah.
And then the 6-year-old will go, and he could probably last the full 30 minutes on his own, but I really want to learn as well. So she gives me a good 5 or 10 minutes at the end, and then.
Do you think that's enough time?
For who?
For the 3 of you to appropriately?
I think that we could do 45 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
But she would charge us more for that. So we stick to the 30 minutes.
Okay.
And there are many different approaches for learning the piano. She has us doing basically just playing songs that we know already. She asked us to buy like a nursery rhyme book. It's called like Easy Piano. We'll totally link it. But it has the letter of the note written into the note. And she also had us label our keys on our piano, which I was really surprised that she allowed that. Basically, then you're just like matching, right? You look up and it's like, oh, C, let me push the letter C. Okay, there it is. And before you know it, you're playing hot cross buns. So I think that has been really helpful and motivating because we're like, oh, look, we're playing songs that we know.
Yeah, and you can kind of like recognize the tune. I think that's pretty fun, right? Okay, so before we go too far, talk about how you found the piano teacher. Like, how did you pick this one, and which other ways did you like?
I actually had a really hard time with it because I tried like Googling around and not a lot was coming up. So I actually just asked mom friends, like, do you know any kids who are taking piano lessons? And I got a number of one lady and I called her and she was completely full.
Oh, okay.
But she recommended like 3 other people.
Nice.
So I called them and this is what worked out. I didn't like interview or anything. In fact, I met nobody else. I only met this lady.
She just came over and started being okay. So I've also heard the tip of like going, if you have a university in your town, you can go to the music department where there's student, like, music students who are often either they know who would be down to give lessons or they themselves would give lessons in their like instrument that they're majoring in or whatever. So I've heard that as a tip too.
Yeah. And I've actually heard that could be a little bit more affordable as well, that they don't charge as much.
Okay.
So definitely a good tip. When we started this whole process, we did not own a piano.
Yeah.
And we really, although I've always loved the piano and it's been totally worth it, we didn't want to invest a ton of money if it turned out nobody liked it. Yeah. And then you've just got this massive piece of equipment sitting.
That was expensive. And,
and pianos are very expensive.
Yeah. So we did go back and forth a bit about should we buy a keyboard, like a simple, whatever, are they 86 key? Maybe I'm thinking of like computer keyboard, but a keyboard. I don't know. And then it's a keyboard that you just plug into the wall. It's electric, and it goes on a stand. And those ones you can get from like little kid ones that are like 10 keys to all the way up to 100
to plus. Actual piano. Yeah. So we played with that idea because, one, we thought it might be more affordable, and 2, CJ was like, wouldn't you like to be able to plug in headphones so that if the kids are asleep and you want to play, you could still do it? Yeah,
play at night, And this would be a good option, too, if maybe you're in an apartment complex, you have like really close proximity to your neighbors, and you want to practice at weird hours or something. Like
or you don't want to carry... I mean, I don't know how much this thing weighs, but it's a lot.
Yeah, if you live on the 4th floor and there's no elevator, then getting a keyboard up the stairs is a little bit easier. Yeah. So what are the reasons why you wanted a real piano instead of a keyboard?
The sound. I mean, I'm sure that there are definitely keyboards out there that sound like a piano, but those would have been so expensive. We may as well bought a piano, right? I feel like,
So if you're going to spend, if you're going for cheap, you're not going to get nice sound. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
In a keyboard.
Yes.
Okay, but in a piano, we ended up getting this quite affordably.
Yes. So the first teacher that I had called, who was full, she was. Oh my gosh, it was just a wealth of information. And I told her that we didn't have a piano. And so she was like, that's fine. Come up with a price point. And there are a couple of options. One, scour Craigslist because there are free pianos on there all the time.
Oh, interesting.
And then all you need to do is
transport
it. Yeah. And she said that the biggest issue with transporting pianos is, the keeping it in the same humidity. It's not like bonking it and that it's not going to be able to play anymore. It's that you want to try to keep it in a controlled environment.
Interesting.
So you need to rent a U-Haul, which you can do affordably, right? You can get like a $30 U-Haul or something. Then you also might want to rent a dolly to put the piano on. And she said that was like $50 or something. And then you need some really strong people because it's very heavy. And so she was like, if you find one for free, that is a good option. And then you could hire somebody to tune it. So all in all, it's probably like $200 or $300. Another option is to maybe call around to local music shops. So we have one, I think maybe only one here.
Yeah, they've been all consolidated.
Yeah. And she said that they were a local owned business and they were great about if you call them and say, look, I can spend $500 and that's it. And that's everything included. Then they can try and help you find something in that price point. But if you know like that this is something you really want, then totally invest in gorgeous piano. Let people know. Post on Facebook,
Looking for a piano.
Yeah.
Yep.
If anybody... So what happened for us is I just put it out in the universe. And like a year and a half later, one of my friends posted that she's a real estate agent and she had a client who needed to get rid of a piano. And so thankfully I was the first to comment and we were able to get it. So we had to pay for,
transport.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which was like $100 and something.
Was it free other than the transport?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It was.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's the only way I can get you on board.
Okay. Well, so this piano is, it is not perfect. It's not super fancy.
It's not.
It is very beat up. It's
very beat up.
Obviously was used by at least like 5 other people to learn how to play piano. There's dings and scratches and it looks very worn. It sounds a little off sometimes. There's certain keys where you hit them and it's like, that didn't sound just right.
Buzzing sound?
Was it a buzz?
No.
This is a piano, not a buzzer.
Right.
Not a bazoo. A kazoo.
Kazoo.
Kazoo, yeah. But you know what? It sounds good enough.
Yeah,
it sounds good enough to learn.
We've never had anybody come tune it, so
Yeah.
I'm sure once we did that as well,
Right.
it would sound even better. But we're happy with it.
We're totally happy with it. And the other thing that's cool is that you can learn how to play the piano. It doesn't have to sound perfect to learn how to play it. And then you can go sit down at a $20,000 piano at the piano store and play hot cross buns.
Right, 'cause
It'll
that's all you
sound
know.
great.
So one thing that I think CJ and I have both been surprised about is how stress relieving it is.
Oh my gosh, it's so therapeutic.
Just come sit down and try to play whatever you can, hot cross buns, jingle bells, whatever. And by the time you're done, I don't know, it just feels so much more relaxed.
It is a great way to unwind. I think it engages like some part of your brain that lets you completely disconnect. I don't know. Maybe that's. I feel the same feeling that I feel when I'm when I'm writing code, when I'm playing music, because it just engages my brain in a certain way that's like all consuming. You have to like. You're moving your hands and you're reading this thing and is it sounding right? And then I don't even know. I haven't introduced feet into mine at all. And so you're moving your feet and you're moving both hands and you're reading and you're moving around and trying to like keep rhythm. And there's just like so many things that go into it that your brain just feels so stimulated that I think it helps kind of like wash away the daily like worries or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Like, we came home yesterday on I-80 from the lake and it was insanely snowy. It was insanely icy. We saw this crazy spin out. The weather was just wild and it was that was kind of stressful, that drive back. And then, I got to sit down and play maybe like 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes or something. And it just like kind of washes over you with, calm.
Yep.
I don't know. You get up and you're like, okay, I was able to completely disconnect and forget about everything else.
Yep.
I don't know. I think also for us, it might feel like that because it's totally a hobby, like 100% a hobby. It is not like there's no grade for this. We're not taking a piano class. We are not.
Well, I mean, but we are paying somebody to come once a week. So that to me is motivating I mean, I want to get my money's worth basically. Like, why are we going to have this person come if we're not learning anything? But other than that, yes, it is very like we're just doing this because we like it.
Yeah, maybe that's different for me because I'm not taking the lessons and I'm just like sitting down and beating my head against it.
Yeah. I think it's also been great the frame of mind that we've adopted since having this piano. Like, very rarely will we ever say, like, please stop playing the piano. I'm trying to do this thing over here. Like, if CJ wants to come sit down and the kids are playing and I'm doing the dishes, like, we're totally fine. Like, go ahead, play. I'll shut off whatever I had on, or I'll put headphones on or something. Or, like, if the kids just want to come beat on it, it's not, one, we're not worried about the quality. Yeah. And two, we don't want to discourage them. Like, come make music if you want to.
Yeah.
And that, I think, has just made it even more stress-free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even if your music doesn't sound like a song, it's not bothering anybody.
Yeah.
And even the kids have gotten used to it. Like, we do play when they go to bed.
Yeah.
And like last night, CJ was playing when I was tucking in Grayson, and Grayson fell asleep within 5 minutes. And I could still hear CJ playing in the room. Like, it was just, I don't know, maybe it was very cathartic to him or something. Yeah. So the way that this got started also is that somebody gifted us a month's worth of lessons.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is an amazing gift if you are looking for a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. If you know someone's been wanting to try something like piano or soccer or swimming, like, just gifting them between $100 and $150, because all of those things cost that much, unfortunately. Yeah. But it's just, I don't know, it's a fun...
It's a good alternative to giving someone stuff. Like, I think that maybe I'm rubbing off on you a little bit here, in that I really dislike the consumerism around the holidays, where everyone is buying a million things and giving each other a million things and spending all this money and buying, especially like toys and crap that's just going to end up in a closet that no one's ever going to use. That really frustrates me. And so I would much rather spend money on an experience, go to the movies, lessons. In the past, you've done a really good job of gifting experiences to me, singing lessons and boating trips and things like that. So I think that this might be a good alternative, is giving someone lessons. So it's a way that you're giving them something really special then. Like, it's something that they take with them forever, but they don't need to find a closet space for. Well,
mostly. Yeah, unless they need to buy a piano or a guitar.
That's totally true. You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's just a great alternative.
Yeah. So let's talk about how what are like the different modifications that you might need to make it work better for a kid? Like,
oh yeah,
Logan can't fit on here perfectly, so talk about the things that you do to
make it.
Well,
I kind of mentioned that in the last episode, how our music teacher gave us the styrofoam. But basically, at least what our teacher says, is that the kids need to have their feet flat. So you can do that anyway. I'm sure there are special stools that you can buy to put underneath the piano. We just stack up that styrofoam. Also, you can place blankets underneath their butt to get them high enough. So yeah, those are a few things. I mean, they can be things around the house, so it wouldn't really be an extra expense.
Okay.
But if you wanted something that was nice, then yeah, you might want to consider purchasing something.
Okay. In the past, also I've heard about like kids' hands aren't like from the tip of their thumb to the tip of their pinky when they spread their hand, they're not really able to reach across an entire octave. Like, did the teacher talk about that at all? Like,
no, the only thing that she really focuses on is chords.
Okay.
And like Logan, he can reach a chord, but it's hard for his hand. You can see he's struggling. So instead she'll just say, well, just hit the correct note with each finger, not necessarily at the same time, just so you're practicing, like, okay, C, G, that's the C chord. Okay. And these are the fingers that are supposed to hit it, and one day my hand will be big enough to push them all at the same time. But yeah, otherwise, she's an insanely patient person. Like, the kids will just come up and bang on the piano, and she'll be like,
sounds
it's a great song. So, Hot Cross Buns, you ready to play that? Which I guess is a quality I suggest you look for in a piano teacher. Yeah.
If you're trying to get a piano teacher for a 5-year-old, then definitely.
Because it's such a delicate situation. Like, you don't want to turn them off if you have somebody who's so strict. But at the same time, you want somebody who's a little bit strict to keep you progressing. Can
you talk about the recitals? Like, how did that work? What is a recital?
I mean, again, I imagine it's different for every teacher, but our teacher rents out, or I don't know if it costs her any money, but she rents out at our local music store. They have like a stage area with a bunch of seating, and they place a piano up there for this. So I think she does it like once a quarter.
Okay.
And she just asks all of her students to come on a Saturday and prepare a piece. They work on it not for as long as I would have thought. Maybe it's different for younger kids, but they didn't pick their piece until the week of the recital, which I was very surprised. But she said, we'll just let them pick whatever their favorite song is that week. And so we all went, and one by one, she called them up there, and basically in order of...
youngest, oldest?
Yeah, and also... skill level as well. So we started out with, Logan, actually, I think, right?
Yep.
He played Twinkle Twinkle maybe. And then it just kept progressing through her students until like the last one blew us away with some Adele song.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was, though, because I found it encouraging. Like, oh man, I want to do that someday.
Yeah.
I better keep practicing.
Yeah. It was neat to see someone like where you can get to if you just stick with this person. And it seemed like she had been teaching some of the families that came for many years, and they had the older sibling like that, and then the younger siblings would all also play as part of the recital. Did you play in the recital?
I did not.
You did not?
She said I could, but she was like, I know adults never do, so it's up to you. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to.
Okay. You didn't want to do hot cross buns?
I didn't. No. And now that I watched the whole thing, I'm glad
you
I did.
definitely didn't want to do it, right? Like,
yeah.
5-year-old goes up there and just smashes, like, yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. I don't think...
there was something I wanted to mention.
Okay.
Done with piano.
All right.
I don't know who needs to hear it today, but this is it can be a really tough time of year. Like, it's cold and there's not as much sunlight, and there are holidays and lots of relationship interactions. And I want to remind you, it's okay to have a therapist in your life.
Yeah.
We talked about it once, how awesome it is to have a therapist. And so I just wanted to mention it again. Yeah.
It's also a time of year, too, when if you are in a place where... so a lot of times people are spending this time with their family. They're like either... I don't know. They're trying to spend this time with their family. If you don't have a family, there's always folks that are open to having you join them for, going on different outings and whatever.
Family is more than blood.
Yeah, family it's definitely more than blood, and there's always people that are out there. So if you're feeling lonely in this time,
yes,
I would reach out and just like, know that there's definitely people who want to spend time with you. The other thing too that I wanted to mention is that while it is a family time, like, it's also important that you keep yourself happy and you do the things that are really bringing you joy in this season. So, we can kind of be like pleasers. What's it called?
People pleasers.
Yeah, people pleasers. And
you want to make other people happy at the expense of your own happiness.
Exactly. Bend over backwards to kind of make stuff happen, and you're baking cookies for 10 days straight or something, and you don't really have time to yourself. So go sit down and play some piano.
Yeah.
Just chill out, and relax and try to enjoy the time. And, it can be fun. It can be fun. It is what you make it. So, yeah. I know the suicide rate for veterans, especially around the holidays, is really crazy high.
Really?
So if you're in Northern Nevada and you are lonely,
you need
hit
a
me up.
friend.
Yeah. You've got a friend in me. Yeah.
We have chicken nuggets. We don't have turkeys and hams, but we have lots of other yummy.
No toys for tots. We've got piano lessons, slinging piano lessons.
Yeah.
Nicole will teach you hot cross buns.
Grayson will teach you hot cross buns.
Grayson is blowing my mind. He is better than me.
Yeah, he's a great piano player.
He's a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And his brain is just incredible. It's cool. It's very cool to see. All right. I think we should keep this one a little short. What do you think?
That sounds good.
Yeah. Love yourself and spread love around.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Bye, friends.